Hello again. South African authorities say they have not received a request for mutual legal assistance about David Imanuwela. He's been linked to the robbery on the president's Phala Phala Farm in Limpopo. Namibian journalist Shellygan Peterson joins me now just to tell us more about how this matter is developing on their side of the border. Shellygan, good afternoon. Dan Moyane here on ENCA DSTV Channel 43 in Johannesburg. I've just interviewed a short while ago a spokesperson for the South African Ministry of Justice, because there's been reports earlier that the Namibian Police Inspector General had written to the department asking for some assistance and for the attention of the NPA. They say they have not received anything at all. So I just want to begin there. Has there been any further developments at all from the Namibian police side? What are they saying at all about this issue? Or have things gone quiet in Windhoek?
So as of the last few weeks, it's gone quite quiet. Over the weekend, we had the report there, the statement from the Namibian police indicating that they essentially took all the right steps, but the dead end was at the side of South Africa, where they couldn't continue with investigations. So that was the last word. So the statement from the Department of Justice in South Africa is quite interesting, because the Namibian police said this was 2020. The same thing was also said by our public prosecutor, our Prosecutor General, Martha Imawa, also stated that they asked the Department of Justice and the Office of your Judiciary to assist with any information on this matter. But yes, it's gone quite quiet since the report there from the Namibian police over the weekend.
Yeah, but they're insisting, the Namibian police, your Prosecutor General insists that there has been communication with South African authorities.
In fact, all they said was, so we have two times where they try to communicate with the South African police. So the first time was when our police essentially reached out to your Department of Justice to assist, where there was no response at all. Then we also have our Prosecutor General, who essentially contacted the Ministry of Justice, or your Department of Justice, and they allegedly went through our Ministry of Justice. So that's quite interesting. So the ball now lies in our Ministry of Justice to sort of say something or clarify the matter, confirm what our police is saying, or essentially agree with what your Department of Justice is saying. So it seems like one of these parties are not entirely telling the truth, or is just withholding the entire truth. But if we remember, Dan, there was a time where in our report where it said that the South African police services contacted our police services and they worked together. So it would be interesting to see whether SAPSCAD could essentially confirm that, because the Justice Department seems to have washed their hands.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Why? Because Mr. Crispin Piri was sitting next to me a short while ago. He says they have now reached out. He says now the South African Justice Department is reaching out to the Namibian authorities to establish exactly how were these requests made, because they believe the proper channels were not followed. So one party here is not telling the truth. In my mind, I'm wondering, why would the Namibian authorities have to lie about this?
That's actually the question now. If we are to look at who is actually not telling the truth or omitting the truth, I think we should then go to perhaps some of these parties providing evidence. We have now reached out to our Namibian police. The Namibian newspaper has now reached out to our Namibian police to ask for evidence that they did in fact reach out to their counterparts or through our Ministry of Justice. Because if it now comes to a point where each of these parties now need to provide proof to exactly see where the issue is.
Yeah. Have you got that? You've requested proof, you say, there on the ground, and I don't know when, if and when you will get it. Finally, and very quickly, Shellygan, this story here in South Africa is still making headlines, and it's the talk of the town, literally, using an old expression. I mean, everybody's waiting. Now, the president here has decided to say, I have nothing more to say because the investigation processes are now underway. But the matter, of course, won't go away. The opposition, official opposition party, the DA, today announcing that it's going to contact the FBI in the United States to investigate whether or not our president here is guilty, as alleged, of any money laundering, because allegedly millions of dollars were kept in his farm. On the ground in Windhoek, is this still a talking point? Are people fascinated by what's surrounding our president here, or it doesn't matter?
It seems like our civil society has been quite quiet. We have not had one statement from civil society throughout this last few weeks. Our politicians last week asked questions in Parliament. Only one succeeded in essentially giving formal questions or asking formal questions to our Minister of Safety and Security. And he only has to respond by end of this week or next week. So that's the only activity that's now happening. The only recent story that we published here was that one of the suspects, or the alleged mastermind, Imanuwela David, has now been said to have been robbed of money from him. So that was the last story we published, and it seems like it's gone quite quiet, and unless we hear from either our Ministry of Justice, the police, or we also reached out to our Financial Intelligence Center, because according to reports is that they were also roped into this. Essentially before they said they have a report, but they are now refusing to release the report on this matter.
Wow, the plot thickens. Your Financial Intelligence Center in Namibia also putting together a report, but they don't want to reveal it. And the main suspect, the alleged mastermind, Imanuwela David, has been robbed as well. The plot just thickens on this story. Sounds like a movie, Shellygan. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon on ENC. That's Shellygan Peterson, a journalist in Windhoek, just giving us a sense of what are people saying about this case of the Phala Phala Farm. And the Namibian authorities are insisting they did reach out to the South African justice system. Crispin Piri sitting next to me a short while ago here in studio saying, no, we haven't received anything. We're now engaging with the Namibian authorities. Who is not telling the truth? Or